understand why we did the bent penny exercise. What do you guys think? Well, first off, what are your impressions?
Because you think we're all work.
That.
That was very good.
That was good. What was that?
To be able to come together and work as a group and to be able to.
Was it difficult?
Not working as a group.
Was there anything that made it difficult?
They're not all the same.
Oh, thank you. What part wasn't the same?
They were all bent differently.
Oh my gosh, they were bent.
In different ways.
Yeah. So the way I knew about this exercise was in high school basketball. My coach, who was like my second father, he's my favorite coach I ever had, was always coming up with these like team bonding, come to Jesus moments for all of us. Yeah. come together moments for all of us. And the one, I don't know if you can tell by me, I'm pretty outgoing, boisterous, whatever. And I immediately, when I walked in there and he handed us the pennies and didn't give us any explanation and said we needed to stack this tower. Of course, he gives me all the bent ones and everyone else gets the flat ones. And I was so irate, like I just remember being upset. So I'm like, how is this gonna work? And he's like, just take your time. Well, obviously it didn't work. So his main takeaways, which I have carried with me forever, and most of everything that I do, I thought applied here as well, basically are that there's always going to be external factors in your life, whether good or bad, but usually the bad ones tend to make you feel bent. Like they take the wind out of your sails. They might even actually make you physically want to crumple over. However, when you're in a situation like I was in basketball, when there's other people depending on me, you can't afford to have somebody not doing their job. So with us or with the towers, it would have been pretty easy to build a tower of 10 pennies with flat ones, right? But by yourself, but not with everyone else's help, Daniel, recipe. So not only that, but when you have to come together and work with people who have all these different other external factors that are affecting themselves, it becomes hard to build this tower that effectively stands together. So at camp, we have this small opportunity. It's only 3 days. Not even really. If you do the hours, it's like 2. So we only have this small amount of time to come into their lives and be present with them. Like Susan said, or even Mike, you might have said that, is that there's not a lot of adults in these children's lives that are attentive to their feelings. One, because they're probably grieving as well, so they have their own stuff that's making them feel bad. But you have the opportunity and you kind of signed up to be this person that is there for them. So if you're saying, I'm gonna be your buddy, you have the chance to be their buddy and be that person that takes their weight off of them and just lets them have fun and is there for them to walk beside them, like they said about being a companion. So we really can't let our stuff, whatever that is that makes you feel bad, get in the way, because you only have these 3 days to make an impact. So when it's that tiny of a time, anything you do gets remembered. So the other thing too is that not only just that kid, if you let your emotions come into play, you rub off on that kid, but you also are affecting everyone else on the team as well. There were 10 people in your group. If you were the one who had the most bent penny and was the most frustrating, you're probably most of the reason why the tower didn't stand. The same applies in life too. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but if you let yourself affect you, you're going to affect others as well. And just like the tower, it was funny because I came over here whenever their tower was initially built, and it started to fall from like a fly flying by or something. I don't even know. It like collapsed in a little mini gust of air. Yeah, knocked over their tower. So even sometimes if like you feel like you can hold it together a little bit, one bent penny will cause a domino effect of everybody else. Same thing in real life. If you find that you're having a trigger, like Susan talked about, you start to get that kind of like frog in your throat, just step away. Don't try to be a hero. Don't sit there and then all of a sudden burst into tears, and then your little buddy looks at you and then starts crying because you're crying, and then we're all crying. So I'm for sure going to be that person. If you're crying, I'm crying. So I don't know if you remember me in the back doing the music last year at the candlelight ceremony. I was sobbing for no reason, but other than everyone else was. So, if you start to feel that, come talk to us. Again, we're in a unique position now too, that we have extra support volunteers. So somebody can step in for you. It's really just that easy. And just come talk to us, we'll have a moment, and then reel it back in. So for us at Hebron, we just wanted this to like really hit home about triggers, because again, everybody has their own stuff. You can keep your pennies if you want to, but what we're gonna have is kind of similar to my high school basketball team. We used to have a penny outside of the door, but we also had a goose about flying together. Anyway, it was like a picture of this penny to remind us to touch it on the way into the gym, to leave everything behind and remember that it's not about us anymore. It's about everyone else who we're playing for on the court. So around camp, like outside the mess hall, or like right before you go into your groups, we'll just have like a little picture of the penny too, that you can kind of just touch as like a touchstone on the way out, as just like leaving your emotions behind. Or if you're more like me, like I'll probably keep one in my pocket and just kind of remember as a touchstone, to remember to leave my emotions there.
And also other things. So, you know, it's hard to be in a small space with people for 3 days. People that you don't, I mean, it's harder to be with people you normally live with for 3 days, let alone people you don't. So there could be, you could start having some issues in cabins. It might not have anything to do with the kids, it might have everything to do with you, the big buddies, you know. So if we sense that, we're gonna pull you aside. Not to punish, not to reprimand, but to say what's going on, how can we do this? Because then that can take over and be the focus versus what you're there to do. So when she talks about the bend, it can be a lot of different things. I know Tammy is a nurse in hospice, and I know myself, when I go out to see people, I always, to this day, I've been doing this for years, and when I go out, I play certain music, I like my music as I'm driving, but when I get there, I like sit for a second and breathe and say a little prayer in my head that I have the right words, that I can be present for this person and have the right words. And I think if we do that, and I think maybe taking a moment, to, maybe Alan, you could help us with that, do some kind of meditation before we get started. But the theme should be like take stock of you, do an inventory of you, touch that bent penny going into the room. And I think that'll just, I think when you're more conscious, it goes better. When we're not paying attention, it tends to creep up on us. So we thought this would be a good illustration. Okay, moving on to our next. Is that gonna work up there? Oh,
Yeah, it's up.
I don't know, should we leave the lights up?
Yeah.
Are they in the back?
Let's do the funnier one first, right?
Yeah. Okay, we'd like you to watch a video.
Can I see it?
Can you see?
Well, I'm gonna send the links to the people, so.
So I can turn it